Hey,
Hi.
we're doing great.
We're squished.
So we are so excited to tour the RV today.
Yeah, we got the whole family. We came over here to the RV for today's interview.
Awesome.
The RV is living in a little storage yard while we're getting everything ready and getting prepared to go on the trip. And so we just brought everybody over. The kids were off doing a scavenger hunt in the storage unit. So that obviously did not take long enough.
It wasn't very difficult then. So they've already scavenged it.
So, but here we are.
Here you are. So we're in
And it just
RV.
started pouring rain, so it could be a little bit noisy.
Okay.
Not sure what you can hear.
I can't hear it myself, but that's okay.
Okay, good.
We're in Oregon, so we're used to the rain. No big deal.
Very cool.
So what do you want to tell us first about your RV?
Well, gosh, I think that it might make sense to kind of start at the beginning of like what is the process for choosing the right home for a family that's going to be moving into an RV, or even if you're a weekend warrior just looking for an RV that is good for traveling with the family. There's maybe some general concepts to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, Gary, do you want to talk about kind of the categories and how to narrow down maybe? What we did?
Do I?
How we narrowed it down?
Not to put you on the spot, Gary, but it's all you.
I learned about all of this about half an hour ago, so I mean the interview thing. So so there's different kinds of RVs. There's fifth wheels, there's travel trailers, those are pull behind type vehicles, and then you've got Class A, Class B, Class C motorhomes. And for what we were planning on doing, we were feeling like we needed something relatively large for us to maintain our sanity, large in terms of RVs anyway. We early on ruled out travel trailers for what we were planning on doing, simply because there's significantly more, there's a larger amount of setup and takedown with travel trailers, where you really need to be parked in one spot for a longer period of time than what most of our traveling is going to be. We're going to be moving relatively quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided that the motorhome route was going to make more sense for us. And originally we were looking at a Class C RV, which is the type of RV that has usually there's a protrusion on the outside that goes over the driving cab of the RV. It's oftentimes a bunk bed over the driving area of the RV. Sometimes it's storage, depending on how the RV is set up. But we found one that we really liked early on in our search and thought it was going to be the one for us. And then we revisited that about a year later, and some of the shine started to come off of it for us. There were a lot of things that we were realizing might not work out the way that we were originally thinking it would.
Like what?
Was there a question?
Well, when we went back to walk through the RV for probably like the third or so time that we were going through it, I was noticing, now that we were really getting into the mindset of living in this full time, that there just was not very much storage or counter space.
Oh.
And I mean, that's to be expected in an RV, but we'd been touring RVs at RV shows and we're finding other ones that had more of what we were looking for, but they kind of didn't have some of the things we needed. Like that model had bunk beds so that there was space for the kids to sleep, where you don't have to always fold down the bed for bedtime and set it back up into the table, during the day.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing we're thinking about for not just a camping trip for a week, but living your life in this as a home.
Right.
To us, the idea of like, this is the table now, but it's your bed later. It's like the kids don't have a space of their own. So there were things that we found that we had really wanted in that model, but we're seeing that we were kind of shortchanging in some other areas, like storage, kitchen space, just some of those types of things.
Well, and some of the challenges that we were running into with floor plans was most RVs of the size that we were looking at are really set up for a retired couple. Mm-hmm. There aren't a lot of floor plans that are set up for an actual family, because that's just not the demographic that tends to do this type of thing most frequently. So we did, at an RV show, come across the one that we are now making our home, or about to make our home anyway. And we realized that there were a lot of advantages to the Class A type motorhomes. Those are the ones that look like big buses where they've got a flat front. They're also called diesel pushers because the engine is in the back of the RV. We realized that we found a floor plan that made a lot of sense for us, and we realized that we actually would be gaining a lot of square footage on the floor plan because the Class C motorhomes, where you've got the bunk over the cab of the RV, those have the engine in the front. So when you're looking at, like, I think the one that we were looking at was 38 feet, a good 7 or 8 feet of that is actually the engine on the front of the motorhome. So when we were looking at the one that we're in now, which is a 40-foot RV, we were actually gaining more like 15 feet because we didn't have the engine taking up a bunch of that length, and then the engine is actually underneath the back bathroom. So it was a much better use of space for what we needed for maintaining our sanity throughout this crazy process.
Awesome. Well, I love it. So what's like the model, or what did you settle on? What are you in right now?
It's a Thor Aria 4000 is the manufacturer and model. And for people that are looking into RVs, there's no like perfect RV, and there's no like this is exactly what you should do. It's just a matter of go out and learn all you can about them and walk through a bunch of stuff and really spend some time examining the RV from the standpoint of how am I going to use this, because there's so many different floor plans and so many different types of RVs. There's going to be something that will be the best fit for what you're trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, so partially it's like buying a car, but it's not, because it's buying a home at the same time, right? So
yeah, it's buying a home that's going through an earthquake.
Yeah.
Buying a home that's going through an earthquake multiple times a month, because every time you drive it, it's essentially going through an earthquake. So you got to also be looking at how is this thing going to hold up for what I'm planning on using it for.
Yeah.
That was another thing we were looking at, because a lot of the stuff that we were walking through, it felt like if you touch it the wrong way, things were falling apart, and it wasn't going to hold up to living in it with 2 adults, 2 kids, and a dog for an extended period of time. So we were also trying to find that balance of staying within a budget, but also having a build quality that was, we weren't going to be spending all of our time getting things fixed or just living with things that were constantly falling apart. So
nice. I love it. Well, I don't want to delay anymore. I want the grand tour. So do you want to walk us through and show us the different areas?
Sure, yeah. I guess we'll start inside, since we're inside. So I'm going to flip the camera around so you don't have to look at me anymore. You can see what we're looking at here. So I'm coming over here to where the front door is. So this is actually where you come into the RV. And maybe when we're done in here, we can go outside and show you some stuff outside. There's Lilly Belle. So what we have up here is where the driver sits. And these are the kiddos. Here you've got Madelyn and August. So this will mostly be Gary doing the driving, but I also am planning to get trained and educated on how to drive this big beast. And both of these front captain's chairs swivel around so they can become part of the living space as well. And there's, kind of some fun stuff up here. But coming around where you can see the whole inside of the RV, we have the slides out right now, and there's actually 3 wall slides. So that means that the RV is much narrower, and there's just like a small walkway when we're driving down the road. But when we're parked and set up, this is how it, in fact, the entire left wall from here all the way back down to the end is one giant slide on one side, and then there's 2 slides on this side. So you've got a couch here, which does also fold down into a bed. We have our new Ruggable, which you can see has a little hidden Mickey Mouse print on it. Isn't that cute?
Love it.
And these storage ottomans we bought so that we can have a place to throw shoes, I think is kind of what we're thinking. But these will be great because they give you like a footrest on the couch, a step stool if you need to get up to something higher, and also storage, which is definitely like a massive commodity in an RV, is storage space. And then over here, the kitchen dinette, which this was actually really unique. This wide of a tabletop was something I was really thrilled with, because most RVs have a very narrow tabletop. which makes it so that you have room for your plates, but not really like any food on the table. Like if you wanted to serve from a dish or, have a pitcher or anything like that on the table. So even though that seems like a small thing, I think that's a big deal for a family living in this RV. And then this is one of the 6 televisions in this crazy floor plan. We only have 2 TVs at our house, and there's 6 TVs in this thing. So that's kind of cool. These benches, it's kind of odd because only one of them, can you open that please, Gary? This bench has a little pull out, but it only has like this tiny little drawer. And so we're really curious about this other bench, which does not have a pull out drawer in it. And Gary was trying to go on forums and look at blueprints and called the company and everything to see, is there anything under here that is important or that, we should not disturb? And what we discovered is that it's a completely empty space that could be filled with all kinds of things that we need to store or sometimes access. So Gary actually is, working on this to turn that into a lovely storage space that we can utilize. And same thing with under this couch as well. Basically, there's a little bit of duct work because you can see that it comes out into like a little heating vent right there. But otherwise, if you open that up, there's a whole bunch of space that we can put things into. We are going to install our vacuum cleaner right here. So we were able to discover the Dyson V8 Animal. That's just the little stick hose part, but it is a battery operated Dyson. We're pretty thrilled about, and it's just going to plug in right here behind the driver's seat, have a little charging station. Nice. So that'll be pretty cool. Let's see, back up to the front really quick. Gary will pull down the bed or not. Oh, I guess it has to be unlocked. So there's TV number 2 up there, which I don't think is designed for watching like movies while you drive, but we'll show you here momentarily how there is another bed that comes down. Now this one, it is something that you don't necessarily have down all the time, but it's a lot easier to pull up and down because it just is a push button. So then you've got a bed up here where somebody could play video games or watch a movie or hang out. And then these are all cabinets up here around the front driving area as well. Cool. Lots of cabinets here. The kitchen area. Now I would say still here, this is not like an enormous amount of kitchen counter space. I would certainly not turn down more, but one thing I loved about this was this upper ledge back here, so that there's certain things that we want to have on the kitchen counter. They're kind of up out of the way and don't take away from the preparation space. This RV has induction cooktop, and then it's a microwave / convection oven. That's what it's called, right? And so it kind of can be an oven or a microwave, at least somewhat. Well, it remains to be seen, what you can really bake in there and how it'll turn out. So that's that. Some other cabinets and drawers. This does have a little extension on the kitchen counter, so more preparation space. Nice. So that is kind of nice to have a little bonus there. Let's see here. This is a little contraption Gary bought so that he can have a laptop workstation. He needs to have an extra monitor with his work, so he'll be able to set that up. Right here behind Gary, there's a full-size residential fridge freezer. Ooh. So again, that's kind of nice because a lot of RVs are equipped with more of a mini, fridge, which is fine for camping. But this will be really nice to have a full size there. Here hidden in this cabinet is our laundry room. Ooh. Which this is very nice to have laundry right here in the RV. And, they're a little bit smaller than maybe what we have at the house, but we're going to also be bringing less clothes. So I think we'll just be doing smaller loads of laundry more frequently. We found some little collapsible laundry baskets that we have stuffed there in the side, and we're planning to hang up some brooms and dustpans and some things in here. It's all about literally trying to maximize every speck of space. Yeah. Because it's just incredible how much stuff you're trying to bring, and there's not really places for it. But up here is even a little ledge where we can stick some baskets or whatever. So there's that. Right here, this was also a favorite aspect of mine, is a pull-out kind of pantry rack deal, which that is a great way to use that space. And then over here, something I saw in very, very few models was, again, another almost like a pantry shelf.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, if you're looking for an RV, this is like, whoa, it looks amazing. It's crazy how shelf storage suddenly takes on a whole new level of excitement. This particular model is a 2-bathroom model, which was another, that what Gary was talking about, gaining like 15 feet in the length was, this is the kind of thing we want to have a second bathroom. So kind of small, but just imagine being able to have your family have a master bathroom and a kids bathroom instead of all trying to share one and brush teeth at the same time.
Yeah.
This shower has a very small, like a tub basin.
Oh.
Like you wouldn't want to take a bath in there probably, but your dog sure could.
Nice.
So that'll be really, really nice for us having a dog along to take a bath. Because doing a dog bath in a shower is practically impossible, and always having to do it outside in the cold. No, thank you. That's pretty exciting. There's little towel racks back here. Oh, and also, well, I'll show you in the other bathroom. We're installing things in the shower to give more usability to that space. And then over here, August is modeling the bunk bed area. So do you want to show August what it's like down here? Oh, you're just not into that? Okay, so here's the top bunk. And again, we've got a personal TV there in the back.
Whoa.
And another TV down here. So let's see, we're up to 4 TVs. And that's probably where the kids will live. We haven't 100% decided. Maybe somebody will have one of that front bed, but that's the idea for now.
Nice.
Here's TV number 5. And this is kind of cool. They've also built storage in behind the TVs. That's very nice. Little kind of a secret lockbox. Now you all know where it is. These are storage shelves and kind of a closet-ish. We're planning to add lots of different bins and shelving units, kind of things like that. We're still researching a little bit of it. Over here is the master bed, and you can see that it's a fancy kind that tilts up.
Ooh.
Call it like the grandma bed, but hey, it'll be nice for watching movies on that TV over there.
Nice.
Let's see here. So then we're coming back to the master bathroom, and this does have a slider door here that closes, as well as there's a door right there by Gary, and then another one behind him so that like the bunk area actually can be corded enough so that you can create all kinds of rooms in this little space. So here's this shower where we've added a shelf. We added the shampoo and conditioner holders. We're going to be putting some other hooks and clotheslines around. We've got some laundry baskets. And then the bathroom also they've kind of done a nice job, I think, of, like I said, using the space. So there's a lot more that can go in here than meets the eye. I think we're going to be quite pleased with that. So, hi. I'll show you. I think this is kind of fun because back here, this random little thing is like a hamper or maybe a trash can. I don't know. We're not going to use it for that. Gary's idea was to put the dog food in there. Aww. And then have a little spot for Lilly Belle's bowl. So let's see. That's like the tour. I mean, it's not very big. I mean, it's big for an RV, I guess, but
it seems huge for an RV. So.
Am I on camera?
You are.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, Gary's been working really hard too at like lots of little pieces that he's adding and all kinds of what would I call it? We're buying lots of additions and enhancements. Mm-hmm. So can we go outside and show you a couple of things out there?
Yeah.
It is pouring down rain, but I'm willing to brave it for you.
I'm willing to stare at Lily.
Okay, are you going to come out with us?
No.
Okay, so here we are. We're going to just come on down here.
Lily.
Hey, come.
Lily Belle.
Okay. All right, so when we come out, little stairs open up. First of all, we'll give you the full
Ooh.
view. So that's what we're talking about the Class A, where it has the flat front, kind of looks like a bus. And then you can see how, I think you can see that whole side of the RV is actually out as a slider.
Yep.
I'll leave them up. Can you please open them? Okay, so now we'll show you the basement. That's what we call it.
Oh.
This is the area underneath the RV. And this, I think this so far might be the pride and joy. Gary worked very hard to build this pull-out shelf that was not there. And then we also purchased this Dometic freezer / cooler. So it's actually, we had installed electrical power so that you can actually set the temperature. And basically this gives us extra storage for food. Like right now in our house, we have a whole separate freezer in the garage. And then it also is portable, so we can throw it in the Jeep and it can be a freezer / fridge cooler for when we go on just like some excursions and fun trips and whatnot.
I didn't build the shelf just because I wanted to build a shelf the size of the compartment. There's no pre-made shelf out there that would work for it, so I had to build it if I wanted it.
Ah.
Yeah, that's true. I guess he did. He was trying to find a pull-out shelf like that, like a tray.
Like I wanted one of these that would fit in there, but it'll make it. So.
Huh.
All right. Well, this particular pull-out comes with the RV, and that goes all the way through to the other side. But what Gary realized is that because of these beams, these black beams that you can see here,
Yeah.
you can't actually fill it all the way up to the top in the front here, because then when you go to pull it out, you know, your things would hit those beams. So on the other side, he's building a shelf. Can show you that when we get there. And then these 3 compartments, I think, or just these 2. All right, well, just show us one of those, because this is where we've been working to figure out kind of the configuration of storage. So we've already got some of our stuff down here, and we went container store crazy and like have all these bins that we haven't filled yet. They're all clear, I mean, and empty. But those are going to get filled with all of our stuff that we don't have to have on a daily basis, but are still going to want to have along with us.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's lots of things that we probably don't need to go through right now, but you know, there's all the electrical panels, the batteries. We have 3 solar panels on top of the RV. So we have backup solar power, so we can actually be dry camping or boondocking for a good period of time.
Nice.
This right here is our tow setup. So this right here connects to my Jeep Wrangler, which we'll be pulling. And then you notice it's a double hitch because we'll put our bike rack on the second hitch right there.
Nice.
So we'll tow the Jeep and the bikes. This is where the engine is, like Gary was talking about. Over here is where all the hookups for plugging into the power. And we have the sewer and the water tanks, all of that stuff is on this side. You want to show off your shelf you were working on? So this is what Gary just put together over here.
Ooh.
So that we didn't leave this top space because of the fact that you could not, you know, you can't pull that all the way through. So he built that little shelf to give a little extra storage over here. It's like I said before, it's like every single square inch you can find to utilize is going to be for our benefit. So that's it. We're back to the front. From this side, you can see the 2 slides, the bedroom slide in the back and the living room slide in the front. There's awnings that come out on the front side over there on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the grand tour of Minnie.
Oh, wow. It's amazing. Seriously, like to me, it's very spacious for an RV. It's very, it's really cool with all the different storage that you created and shelving and all the little customizations. But I really never thought that, you know, of RVs with bathtubs or, you know, like 2 bathrooms. And I'll tell you, when you showed me the first bathroom, I thought that was the big bathroom. So I was totally wrong. So that's nice that you have your master bathroom is, just it's like you can actually close it and you have an actual master bedroom bathroom. So all of that is super luxurious.
Well, thanks. It does. It almost feels a little over the top maybe, but like Gary was saying, we actually were able to balance getting something that meets our needs with also not breaking the bank. And so I think we feel pretty good about where we were able to land with all of that. And there's still a lot more of the customization to come. Definitely lots of little things that we're working on, but excited about how it's coming together.
That's awesome. So, and what is the thinking with RVs in having so many TVs? Like is that just they expect you to want all of those places to have TVs, or?
I don't know. And I actually forgot to show you the sixth one. It's outside.
Oh,
Who wants to be outside without a TV, right?
okay.
Yeah, there seriously is a TV on the outside wall. I mean,
Wow.
so funny.
I'm going to turn off the lights behind us.
Yeah, so the thinking, I honestly don't know, except that maybe a lot of the market for RVs are kind of gadget,
Gadgets and
crazy people. It's like they're going to buy an RV because it is a luxury item in a lot of cases. And so they want all the bells and whistles in that sense. So, but it's like from here, like from where I am sitting, I can see all 5 of the indoor TVs. So we could watch 5 different shows. I don't know why we would want to, but, and like I said, we're not really like a major TV watching family, but when we do, it's usually like we watch it all together. So we really only need one.
right. Well, maybe you'll.
That's what I was saying. There's no perfect RV, and there's just some things that you just got to live with on the floor plan that you choose, and then you can make the modifications to suit your life as needed once you get into it.
Are there certain like weight limits or things that you have to worry about with this? Or is it like just keep on building and adding and it's okay?
So how much information would you like me to provide you on that? We could probably go for a good half hour just talking about that if you'd like.
No, please.
Yes, there are weight limits that you need to be aware of. There's the overall weight of the vehicle, and then you've got a certain amount of cargo on the vehicle, and you've got a certain amount of towing capacity. So those are all things that you have to take into consideration, and you also have to take into consideration the amount of water, like your water is part of that weight, and what's in your sewage tanks and all of that. So you have to be factoring all of that. And then you also have to be cognizant of how much weight is on each axle, and then you also need to be cognizant of how much weight is on each individual tire, because you are supposed to inflate your tires to certain pressures depending on how much weight you're carrying on them. So yes, there is a lot to think about.
Wow, that is a lot. So, I mean,
And
but
also the height.
Yeah.
You got to remember that you can't go under certain, bridges that are too tall.
Whoa, yeah, that's true. You don't want to be in trouble like that. But so is it, I mean, the weight thing, it's not like you have to tell the kids to be on one side as you start to drive. I mean,
No.
It's like,
no, not anything like that. It's like we've got, if we go over, there's like thousands of pounds essentially that we could have as cargo. Once we get everything loaded in, we're going to go find they're called cat scales, where we'll get the whole thing weighed just to see where we're at. And then if we are too heavy, which I don't think we'll be, but then we would end up having to decide, downsize even more essentially. But no, it's not that sensitive. It's just like if you're carrying a whole bunch of cargo in the basement that's heavy all on one side, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't do that, but you would want to know where that weight is being distributed and then adjust your tire pressures to what the manufacturer of the tire says it should be based on what the weight is on that particular tire. So it's not that sensitive where somebody moving around in the RV is going to cause, the RV to explode or anything.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
It's something to be aware of just for like more long-term safety, I guess.
And I think you get your weights like when you have full tanks and get everything filled up, and then you go weigh, and then you know that you have that wiggle room.
Nice. And so have you already downsized your house and got rid of everything that's not coming with you? Or is that like a ongoing process still?
I would say definitely ongoing process. Our garage currently is a maze of piles that we are intending to have a big estate sale, assuming that, people can come within 6 feet of each other before we leave. We'll see if that happens.
Right.
But a lot of the stuff in the house, like, we need it until we're ready to go or shortly before we go. But actually, there's a lot we could get rid of sooner, except that we are putting the house on the market. And so, like, I made the mistake of selling my big, beautiful desk in my office and then realized that when we go to take photos for the house to be on the market, it's not going to look very good because I have a plastic folding table in there now that I'm working on. So we could start selling couches, and I mean, we could sleep on our mattress on the floor and sell our bedroom set, but then what would we do for people touring the house? Might look kind of tacky to have our clothes in laundry baskets all over the house and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we need to wait a little bit.
When is the
on
house
some of the bigger
on the
things?
market?
Should be the end of next week. Is that right? Or no?
Yeah, probably be a couple.
Like 2 weeks. About 2 weeks. We're putting a new roof on the
We live in
house.
Woodhaven and Sherwood. If anyone's interested.
There you go. There you go. Sure.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to get
Little
the
nice house available in Sherwood. Yeah, we're just having a new roof put on, and then it'll go on the market after that.
Awesome. Awesome. And I know you're taking kind of a, test drive trip up to Washington. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we're really excited about that. I mean, it should be hopefully a little bit of family fun, but the main purpose of it is that with a vehicle like this, if you will, it's really important that we get out and test all the systems and get a chance to use everything and try everything, or at least as much as we can, and not just, in the driveway, like as a trial, but really using it for a few days in a row so that we can see how things work and different, items we've bought. Do we like the way they fit in the space, or how is it usable once we actually are using it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot different when you just are looking at it versus trying to actually use it.
And beyond that, just if anybody were to be interested in purchasing an RV, you have to realize that there are going to be a bunch of things, even if you purchase a brand new RV, that don't work or don't work the way they're supposed to when you first get it. We've already had a bunch of warranty work done, and there's some parts on order, and we're having a bunch more warranty work that needs to be done. So we want to get out and put everything through the ringer to make sure that there aren't other things that we haven't used yet that aren't actually working, so that we can get that taken care of before we leave. Because it's one thing if you're needing warranty work done and you're just out on your weekend trip with the family and you're going to be back home and you can send the RV off to get fixed. We're going to be living in it, so once we're living in it, it's going to be very difficult to have that type of work done where they need to keep it for a few days. So but whether you get a new RV or you get a used RV, there's going to be things that need to be taken care of. That's just the nature of RVs.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. That is something I really didn't think about at all, but that's a really good point. So if people are shopping for RVs that they might need work, and to really plan that into the time so that they're not just buying it and going on their trip right away. There might be
originally we were going to get the RV, not quite so far out. We were kind of thinking we would take possession like now, like April, May, but we actually took possession on December 31st. The RV dealership wanted it, for their accounting, they wanted to have it off their books for last year, but we actually had it for, about 6 months before we were planning on leaving, which has really been a blessing. We've been able to figure a lot of stuff out and, able to figure out the warranty stuff that needed to be taken care of, or a lot of it anyway. And there's been so many things just kind of, figuring out how we want to customize things and how different things work. And it's been so much easier to actually have it for that extra time before we were planning on leaving. So if a person were planning on getting into the RV world, you should not plan on taking extended trips the first weekend you buy the thing. You're going to want to figure some stuff out before you get into really using it, I think.
That's really good to know. Any other tips people should know while they're buying, purchasing, looking at RVs? I know you probably have a ton, but.
Well, I think for us, we really were fortunate where I've read so many in all my research on RVs. There were so many horror stories of people that, they thought was going to be their dream RV. And then there were so many things wrong with it, and the dealer wouldn't do anything about it. And they just had, just horror story after horror story of trying to get things fixed. And for us, it's been great. The dealer that we worked with, I mean, we've had a bunch of things that needed to be fixed, but they're on top of it. And
Great.
there's everything that we've brought to them. They've actually brought things to me that I wasn't even aware of. They said, oh, we found this when we were working on this other thing, and we just took care of this for you also. So, I mean, we've had a fantastic experience. So I guess the moral of the story, I think it's more important who you buy the RV from versus what RV you get, because every RV is going to have some issues with it. And you'll read through forums on all kinds of different RVs, and they're going to say, oh, that RV is a piece of crap. You should never buy from that manufacturer. And then you go over to the other manufacturer that they're saying is great, and there's a bunch of people on that one saying, oh, that RV is crap. You should buy from this manufacturer. So I think it's just more important that you find a dealer that you can trust that's going to stand behind the vehicle that they sell you.
That's great.
And
Do you guys
we
want
worked
to give
with
a shout out to your dealer?
Yeah, I do. I was just going to say the dealer that we've worked with is B Young.
Be Young.
In, what is it?
Milwaukee.
B Young RV in Milwaukee. They have really been wonderful to work with. The other bit of advice I would say is go to those RV shows. They're kind of fun, and it just gives you a chance to walk through all different kinds and makes and models. And there's really more out there than just was at the RV show, but it's a really great way to just get exposed to different types of floor plans, different types of builds, features that are in some versus others. So it's like the exposure to the world of RVs is at least a really good place to start that exploration process. And it can also, I think it helps kind of get the dream machine going. So if it's something that you're thinking someday maybe you'd love to do that, or having an RV is a goal of yours or something that you're dreaming about, going to the RV shows can start planting those seeds and give you more to visualize and really actually focus on what it is that you want instead of just this ethereal wish.
You can buy a $500 RV, you can buy a $1 million RV. There's such a huge range of things out there, so it's really important to go figure out what makes sense for you if you're interested in the RVing world.
Oh, and also our whole journey started with renting motorhomes. For 3 summers in a row, we had an RV rental. It was a Class C 24-foot motorhome, and our renting experience was positive, I think, in all 3 cases. Once was through a private party, and then twice through a rental company. And that was what really gave us exposure to what it's like to travel in an RV, what it's like to RV with a family. And so I think that's another really great place to start, is if you can borrow or rent or test it out in some way to see if it's even for you.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing and giving us the grand tour. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up and say bye today?
Well, I appreciate you having us on to share. It's fun to be able to talk about what we're doing and hopefully get some ideas and feedback from others too. I would invite anyone who's interested to come follow our journey. We're going to be taking our family, traveling through all 50 states, probably about 18 months of full-time travel and living life along the way. So come be a part of our community and share your own ideas, learn from our mistakes, and hopefully have some fun along the way.
We'd love to hear ideas of places to go also. We've done a lot of research on places that we think we want to go, but people who have had their own experiences, we'd love to hear about the places that we shouldn't miss along the way.
Wonderful.
Definitely.
I love that. So I just put up on the screen your website. So it's renegadewinters.com. And you're telling your journey there and also on social media. So definitely, if you're watching this, follow along on the journey and comment. Like Gary said, send in your favorite places that you've been or that you are thinking of going. And thank you, Gary and Kristen, so much for joining me today. It's been great. Really enjoyed having you and seeing the RV. And hi, August. I know he's back there somewhere.
Say bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.